Hello, my name is W.J. Sheehan. I'm the author of a series of books entitled Bigfoot Terror in the Woods, Sightings and Encounters. The series is a compilation of sightings, encounters, and evidential findings pertaining to Bigfoot in North America. It's available in both paperback and ebook by going to www.buybigfootbooks.com, and the link will take you where you want to go. Both now as well as going into the future, I will be reading and posting various chapters from the series for your listening pleasure. If you've seen something, say something. I can be contacted at splinters@optonline.net. That's SPLINTERS at OPTonline.net. Today's reading is entitled The Taxidermist's Evidence, and it's taken from volume number 5 of the series. This very strange and seemingly eerie account was told to me by Johnny Roth, a resident of Pennsylvania. Here is what Johnny had to say. As I begin to tell you and your listeners what it is that I saw, my thoughts are that I should preface it by briefly telling you of a singular event which happened during my childhood. I grew up in a neighborhood which consisted of 100 homes. There were obviously many families living within the community, and consequently, many fathers who earned a living in a variety of ways. One of the men who lived 6 houses down from me was named Mr. Candelora. He was by trade a taxidermist, which as a young man seemed rather cool and unique to me. I had a habit at the time of going into the woods with my BB gun and shooting birds and squirrels. It's something I wouldn't even consider doing now, but at the time I didn't care. One day I had shot a blue jay. The thought had entered my mind that I would like to have it stuffed. So I brought it down to Mr. Candelora's house. When I got there and had showed it to him, he told me it was against the law to shoot blue jays and that he could be arrested if caught performing taxidermy on them. He had taught me a valuable lesson that day, which will come into play shortly. As with everything else, I am sure there are many people who, for the right price, would perform taxidermy acts on anything for anyone, with money, of course, being at the root of all things evil and the like. I will fast forward 20 years later to 1996, when I was employed by a major shipping and delivery firm. When I put that delivery uniform on, and as the people on the various routes got to know my face, I had carte blanche access to anywhere and everywhere within the confines of most businesses. I could walk behind counters and into private offices in the course of making a delivery and never be stopped or questioned in the least. It was on this particular day that I had entered into a taxidermy shop, which was a somewhat regular stop on my route. When I entered the front door, Dave, who was the owner, was not behind the counter, and evidently had not heard me come in. I took the package, walked behind the counter, and went straight away into his workshop through a swinging door. Upon entering the shop, Dave had the radio playing very loudly with the bathroom door shut, so I knew that Dave was taking care of business. As I stood there waiting, I noticed a plastic drop cloth draped over a work table with blood and guts all over it. There was nothing new for me because it was typical of what you would see when entering his workroom. What was not typical was this. Smack dab in the middle of the table was the blood-soaked head of a Sasquatch, with all of the guts, blood, and veins hanging out of the bottom of it. I knew immediately what I was looking at. The mouth of the beast had receded back, exposing an enormous set of yellowed teeth. There was nothing fake about it. Dave's business had nothing to do with things that were fake whatsoever. The creature's hair was all matted down and soaked with blood from being handled. There were guts and goo all around the head. Having seen enough, and while Dave was still in the bathroom, I stepped back out of the shop and moved in front of the counter to wait, as though I had not been in the back and seen anything. A few minutes later, I heard the bathroom door open. In an attempt to appear as though I had just arrived, I shouted, "Hello!" Dave came from the back room and greeted me in the usual way. I told him that I had a COD package for him. As he started to write me a check, I asked him how his day was going, to which he said, "I'm in the middle of gutting a boar for someone." Now I knew he was lying to me, which firmed up that what I had seen was, in fact, a Bigfoot. There was no boar which he was in the middle of prepping, but there was the head of a Sasquatch which someone from somewhere had chopped off and asked him to mount. From that day forward, I had changed my entire opinion about him and about the existence of Sasquatch. Knowing what I knew and having learned it from Mr. Candelora as a youth, if shooting a blue jay or an eagle was against the law, Dave had to have been breaking the law by having this Sasquatch in his possession. I have no idea if there was an entire body anywhere in the shop, but I do know that there was most definitely a head, and it was sitting smack dab in the middle of Dave's table. Thank you for listening.